Hello friends, today we'll be discussing on the next topic under Sale of Goods Act 1930, that is transfer of ownership and delivery of goods. Though in this session I'll be discussing a certain topic or certain parts of transfer of ownership, we happen to understand when we read this chapter that key elements becomes important in a contract of sale. What are those? Whenever a contract of sale has to be completed, one, there has to be transfer of ownership. Two, that means there should be passing on of property. Then the goods has to be delivered, and of course the passing on of risk. If you recall my earlier sessions, we have in-depthly understood that risks and rewards have to be transferred only then the complete contract takes place. Now let us talk about the first aspect of transfer of ownership, that is passing on of property. Yes, we have already had discussions about what is meant by specific or ascertained goods, what is meant by unascertained goods. Later on we see a case of goods sent on accrual or on sale or return basis, and then we touch upon the points of transfer of property in the case of reservation of right to disposal. Let's see what it is. Specific or ascertained goods. When does the property passes on to the buyer? Very critical, the timing of it I meant. So all that we are going to read now and correlate with examples are going to be critical in establishing the complete answers to get a foolproof solution. Therefore, kindly concentrate on this issue. When the goods is specific or ascertained goods, the property is transferred only when, that is, property is transferred to the buyer at such time as the parties intend it to be transferred. So basically the law gives the liberty between the buyer and seller to intend the transfer. So whenever the buyer and seller have understood that the property is going to get transferred on such a particular time, that particular time the property will be transferred. To check the intention of the contract, we need to see these 3 points. What are those 3 points? One is the terms of the contract between the buyer and seller. 2, the conduct of the parties, means what was written in the contract, who has to play what roles, what is the responsibility of the buyer, what is the responsibility of the seller, is what we have to understand by conduct of parties. Then the circumstances of the case. In which circumstance was the transaction executed? I mean to say, was it a case of coercion? Was it a case of undue influence? Or was it a case of a normal scenario, is what we are trying to understand. All these 3 should be considered. Why should we consider it? The basic point is to arrive at the intention. Now, why is this intention important? It's pretty simple. If as per the intention specified in these 3 points, if that is found out, then the contract is taken or the property is transferred at such time where the buyer and seller have intended it to be. So, to arrive at what is the intention of the parties between buyer and seller, these 3 points becomes important. What are those? 1 is terms of the contract, 2 is conduct of the party, 3 is circumstances of the case. So having said that, we further go on to understand that if different intention does not appear in the contract, that means if specifically the words have been given in the contract which appears to be having a different intention, if the intention is very clear, then these 3 points will be a straightforward answer to us. But where if the different intention is not there, then how do we find out? There are certain rules. That is, if different intention does not appear in the contract, then the rules for checking the intention is, apart from these 3 points, in, let's say, the terms of the contract or conduct of the parties or circumstances of the case, we further check A, B and C points to arrive at the clear intention. What is the logic behind it? It's pretty simple and straightforward. What does the law tell? The law says, arrive at the intention first. To arrive at the intention between the buyer and seller, check the terms of the contract, check the conduct of the parties, check the circumstances of the case. Having said that, also read the terms of conditions of the document, that is the contract. If there is no separate intention appearing, if there is no exclusively written intention, then a normal intention as to when the passing on of the property happens, that should be checked by A, B and C points. Am I clear, friends? Let's see what does A say. A, specific goods if it is in a deliverable state. B, specific goods to be put into a deliverable state. And C, specific goods is in a deliverable state when seller has to ascertain the price. So by reading or understanding these 3 sub-points, our intention part becomes very clear, and thereby we can establish that when the passing on of property should have happened. So let's see one by one as to how we can arrive at the intention. So point A, please. Specific goods in a deliverable state. If that is the scenario, I hope you understand or you already know what is called specific goods. Specific goods in a deliverable state. First point, if the contract is unconditional, that means there is no strings attached, there is no conditions to be satisfied. If such is the case, that means once you read the terms and conditions of the contract, if there is no conditions mentioned, if it is unconditional, then property passes on when the contract is made. That is when? Immediately. As soon as the contract is made, the passing on of the property happens immediately, provided there was no conditions attached to it, or if the contract is unconditional, the property passes on immediately. As simple as that. Second, please also appreciate the second point. It is immaterial whether the time of payment or delivery or both is postponed. So when the contract has an unconditional issue, there is no conditions attached to the contract, the passing on of property happens immediately, and it is irrelevant, immaterial when the payment was made or when the goods was delivered or when the payment and the delivery of the goods is made. Which means even if it is postponed, it doesn't matter, the property has already passed on from the seller to the buyer immediately. That is because of the keyword unconditional. So a specific goods in a deliverable state, if it is already in a deliverable state, and if the contract is unconditional, then the contract is made immediately. It is irrelevant whether the payment, delivery or both is postponed to a later date. Are we clear with how to arrive at the intention if the transaction is related to specific goods in a deliverable state? Yes. We move on further to point number B, wherein if specific goods is to be put into a deliverable state. That means as of now, it is not in a deliverable state. If we have to put that into a deliverable state, then we have to check the intention, that is the second point, which says if the contract states that the seller is bound to do something to the goods to put it into a deliverable state. That means if the seller has to do something more to put it into a deliverable state, then property will not pass on until such thing is done and the buyer has notice of it. What do you mean by this? Let's say a contract wherein the seller has already produced the goods and is yet to pack it. If the contract states once the seller has produced the goods and packed it and informed it to the buyer, till that point of time the information to the buyer, that is the notice to the buyer, is not given, the property in the goods does not pass on from the seller to the buyer. I make it even more clear. Production of the goods, packing of the goods, information to the buyer is what the terms of the contracts have said. To check that, that means to see the intention when the property is going to pass on, we have to see whether the seller has already produced the goods. Yes, he has produced the goods. Whether he is packed, no, he is not packed the goods. Whether he is informed the buyer, no, he is not informed the buyer. Therefore, till the information to the buyer happens by way of a notice, the property does not pass on. Sir, why are we breaking our head about when the property is going to pass on? Remember, if the property is not yet passed on, any loss of damage by way of a destruction or otherwise, it is the seller's responsibility, or it is the seller who will bear the loss. The seller becomes liable for such cases because the ownership is not yet transferred. Am I clear, friends, about the topic, why we are understanding when is the intention to see, or what is the intention of the terms to see when the property is going to get transferred? That is, when the ownership, at what point of time the ownership is getting transferred from the seller to the buyer. Further, last point, we see specific goods in a deliverable state when the seller has to ascertain price. That means the goods is already in a deliverable state, but he has to do something more to it to arrive at the price. How, when, what, all those things we will see. Now, is it similar to the previous point? No. The previous point was specific goods to be put in a deliverable state. That means it was not yet in a deliverable state. He has to arrive at and make it into a deliverable state. Till that deliverable state is arrived and information of the same is given to the buyer, property is not getting transferred from the seller to the buyer. That is what we understood in point number B. In point C, specific goods is already in a deliverable state, but something more has to be done to ascertain the price. What is that? Let's see. If the seller is bound to weigh, measure, check the measurement of the goods, test, or do something or some other act or thing for the purpose of ascertaining the price. Now let's say he's already packed the goods and kept. Now he has to check whether the packed goods weighs the measurement required. Let's say 50 kgs measurement, or 10 kgs measurement, or 5 kgs measurement, or whatever is the terms of measurement, or probably he has to test each and every case as a sample testing mechanism, and only thereafter he puts the price sticker. So what are we understanding here? If the seller is bound to weigh or measure or test or do some other act or thing for the purpose of what? Ascertaining the price. Till the price is not ascertained, check this, property will not pass on until such things are done and the buyer has notice of it. Am I clear, friends? So first case is where it is already in deliverable state, which means you have to check whether there was an intention of unconditionality. If there was no conditions attached, the property is immediately transferred. It is irrelevant when the payment was made, or when the delivery was made, or when payment delivery is both postponed. It is irrelevant. Second point, if the goods have to be put into a deliverable state, the property is not going to pass on from the seller to the buyer until and unless the deliverable state is reached and the information of it reaches to the buyer. Notice of the same, that is the deliverable state, has been given by the seller to the buyer. And lastly, where specific goods is already in a deliverable state, but something needs to be done, something more needs to be done to ascertain the price. We have few examples, that is weighing of it, measurement of it, testing of it, or do some other act or thing to ascertain the price, like putting a sticker, and maybe he has to work on offers like 1+1, if you buy 2 get 1 free, something like that. If he works on that and some efforts more are required, only then we can say the property in the goods has been transferred from the seller to the buyer. Remember the last point, property will not pass on until such things are done and the buyer has notice of it. So the buyer should have notice of it. It is not just that he's done, ascertained the price, put the sticker or done the offer wrapping and just kept it at his godown. It is not going to be sufficient. He has to inform the buyer that all these relevant things have been done. Only then property passes on from the seller to the buyer. So all that we have understood here is only the first point of passing on of property if the goods is specific or ascertained goods. Please recall my previous class videos about specific and ascertained goods. Now in my next session I will be discussing about the remaining part of it. As of now, if you have any doubts, please do mail me your doubts to loitacademy@gmail.com. I will revert back to you. Thank you.